Yeah. How are you guys doing? Have you guys been having a great conference so far? Yeah. You're in my favorite place in the world. I so wish I could be there with you right now in that vegan heaven of deliciousness. So I'll just get right into it then. And then we'll just let the technology work itself out. How about that? So the emphasis of the talk that I'm sharing with you today is how to engage in mindfulness, even with all this craziness of remote working. And this is the perfect demonstration. This is why I was like, guys, we're doing a remote work thing. I can't be there. Let's do a remote meditation and, just feed it the other way. So how do you engage in mindfulness with the kind of world that we live in today? It would be so easy if we were in a cave, going to a hilltop when we got to meditate, and then going down into into our workspace when we want to work. But how do we engage in mindfulness throughout this integration that we're going through right now, until maybe one day we merge with the machines and we can just flip a switch and go into mindfulness mode, right? So right now we're juggling a lot of things. We're juggling a lot of stimulus. We're juggling a lot of, if you have multiple businesses, you're juggling a lot of businesses. It's really challenging to try to compartmentalize everything, to compartmentalize what you have to do with your teams, to compartmentalize what you got in your relationships, to compartmentalize what you're trying to do in your personal life and how you're trying to bring, this realization to yourself, if that's a goal, your spiritual consciousness, while also trying to hold down a business and, build yourself financially or whatever is your reason for your business. So how do we juggle all these things and maintain mindfulness and maintain sanity and maintain a state of Zen, right? This is the challenge that we're going to bring to bear today. Is everyone ready to explore this challenge as we do this in a very awesome high-tech way? Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with an exercise that's going to bring a higher level of presence right now. A very simple exercise, because everything that we do when it comes to mindfulness, I want you to see it this way. Everything we do when it comes to mindfulness starts with right here, right now. And so there's no past, there's no future. We're all right here, right now, which is why doing this live is so critical, because we're literally bringing this truth home right here, right now, doing this all live. And so we want to be live right here, right now. And we want to bring our awareness to bear in this space. And I'm going to do it in a very practical way. So we have see, hear, and feel. And in a moment, I'm going to have you guys pair off. So kind of be thinking who you might pair off with in a moment. And you're going to have a conversation, but this conversation is going to be very different than other conversations you may have had in the past. You're only going to be able to talk about what you can see, hear, or feel, or smell, any sense of what's happening in the moment. So everything about your conversation, and you'll switch. So for example, one person will say, I see this, and the other one goes, I hear this, and the other one will say, I feel this, and the other one goes back, I smell this. And just do this for a minute or two, and then we'll come back to this, the continuance of this exercise. But what we really want to do is get this internal voice and the external voice used to being present and presencing in the way it's communicating. Is everyone clear on what the exercise is? Would anyone like to try it with me if you're not sure? It'll really help maybe if I can see you guys raise your hands or something, because it's just a little screen here. Is everyone, if you're clear on what the exercise is, say I and raise your hand. If you're not, then just, okay. All right, cool. So take a moment now to pair off and have a present conversation. You're only allowed to talk about what you're presencing right now. So I see this, I hear this, I feel this, and really take a moment and be aware of what you see, hear, and feel in the room, as well as inside of yourself. You're allowed to share either what's going on externally for you or what you're also experiencing internally. And go. Okay, and stop. And what I want to do for now is just, I want you to notice what that experience was like. How was that different? And if we can get mics, I know last time we were able to get mics and get feedback from people. I really love the interaction and the engagement. So, and if anybody also, if you just want to shout stuff out and back and forth to me, like it'll really, give us all that feedback that's going to be beneficial to everyone. So what did you notice, let's say, in this kind of experience of only talking about what's present that might be different from other experiences you had when you're talking about anything and everything? Anybody want to share? Raise a hand, and maybe if we either get a mic or.
Thanks. It might take friction to come back to the present moment. Reconnecting to the present moment. That's what I noticed.
Reconnecting to the present. Just through our words kind of create that connection of we're already here, our bodies are already here. Mentally, but then when we start talking, it brings us back into the present, right?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else want to share an experience? Maybe how it feels to connect with somebody when you're only dealing in the present? Anybody else want to share on that with a show of hands?
Hi, James. For me, there was an intense sense of focus.
An intense focus?
Sense of focus, yeah.
Yeah, an intense sense of focus. So now we're going to do this one more time, but in a different way. We'll drop the words completely, and we're going to go even more intense. Now, you can opt out of this if you don't want to. If you're willing to explore this, because we're human, and you're going to learn more if you go through this exercise. What we're going to do, if you've never done this before, we're just going to let the words fall away. We won't even speak the words, but we will be present as we speak the words internally now, as we pair off. We look and we might be saying, I see this, I hear this, I feel this, or just send them a genuinely good vibe. So in a moment, everyone understand, to say I if you understand, raise your hand if you understand what you're doing. You're not even speaking this time. You're having the dialogue just inside yourself as you look at each other. Are you ready? Okay, ready and go. Now, I'll talk as you do this. If you're really comfortable with the person, this may be something you're used to, and it's okay. If you're not, it might be something that's a little intense. And what I want you to do is just notice why it feels intense. Why, in the absence of word, does the connection feel more intense? Okay, great. And we'll come back. These are noticing exercises of being mindful and present to what's happening. So does anybody want to share their experience that time, how that was different? Yeah, I can't see all the hands. So if you guys there on the ground can see it and then bring them a mic, that would be great.
Sitting next to a stranger, actually, it's very, very awkward, but also we kept on laughing, just looking at each other's eyes.
Okay, cool. All right, great. Thank you for that share. Anyone else want to share what their experience was?
Yeah, I felt like so we were able to like send some messages. He was trying to tell something, and yeah, so with the gestures I was able to like guess he's thinking something about trying to send a message, and he was like trying to think that, oh my god, what's happening, I don't understand. So that's what I understood, but it's a like really good experience trying to understand what the other person is thinking.
Great. Thank you for those shares, you guys. So now what we're going to do is there someone else is sharing? I can't see if there's another mic out there. Was someone else talking? Okay. So mindfulness is a field where a stimulus is taking place. Your mindfulness is seeing that field. Mindfulness is being aware and present to that field. And in communication or any other kind of stimulus, at first there's the stimulus of what's going on externally. And then there's the internal narrative that's running right now. And in fact, if you can be hyper present with, as I'm talking right now, you'll notice there's an internal voice that's narrating this experience right now. It's going, am I really paying attention? Am I where? Maybe you're thinking of something else right now. Maybe you're picking up a phone. Maybe you're somewhere else. But there's that internal dialogue or narrative that's going on that if you're not aware of it, it's kind of shading your experience right now, shading or coloring it or lighting it based on the words that are always running. And if you're aware, if you're mindful as it's running, then you've unlocked the first step to the mindfulness practice, because it doesn't just run on autopilot. You can actually start to actually take control of it, which is what we're about to do in a moment. So I just want you to notice if there is that internal narrative running. It might be asking questions as I talk, like, do I agree with that? Do I believe in that? Is that true? And it might even be making observations like, look at, his blue scarf, or, look at, and just making all these observations about your reality. And the more you get in touch with all the stimulus that's going on, not just what you see, hear, and feel, but also the dialogue that might be going on inside yourself, as well as your breath in this very moment in time, you have now entered this field of mindfulness that is allowing you to process all the stimuli, not just the external world stimuli, but the internal world stimuli that is there for you to observe right now. And as we go deeper into this process, all of this will make more sense why this is important and how this applies not only to work, but your whole life holistically. Because even the remote work and everything that you're doing is only one aspect of your whole human experience. And by tapping into this whole human experience, this whole mind and the mindfulness of all the stimuli, you're going to be able to concentrate your efforts. If you are working and you're doing this remote work or in-person work, you're going to be extremely effective because you're going to be bringing all of you to it. Have you ever experienced interacting with someone when they're not even there versus interacting with someone when it feels like they're completely there? What is the quality of that connection when you have had that experience? And what's the difference? Because the body and everything is there. The difference is when someone is alert and lucid and clear and there versus someone who's not engaged at all and completely somewhere else and maybe thinking that you aren't even that aware of where they are. This is going to mean the biggest difference of quality of experience and interaction in all your relationships, in your working relationships, and even in the level of presence that you'll bring to your work. So now we're going to leave this world that you're in right now with your eyes open. And for the rest of the journey for now, we're going to do an internal one. So if you want to close your eyes and take a deep breath, and just let your external world fall away. Just notice as you close your eyes how immediately your consciousness and your presence starts to shift inwards. And you go from seeing, hearing, and feeling more things externally to now tapping into more of you and your world and your universe. And just take a moment with your eyes closed to be more of like a watchman. So a watchman is not really affecting anything right now. You don't have to do anything except watch. Just be an observer of what happens when you close your eyes and you start going inward. Notice what impulses or patterns, thought forms come up for you. This is all happening in the present, and you're not controlling it. You're just watching it. You don't have to do anything right now except watch the experience. And when you notice a familiar thought that might come up, maybe it's one that you've thought a lot and it's just come up and it's just been a normal part of your existence. Just for now, you don't actually have to believe it's real any more than you have to believe that if an elephant came in the room right now, in your imagination, that it's real. So an elephant shows up, imagine an elephant in the room and the elephant leaves. It's the same thing in your consciousness right now. Imagine whatever thought has come up can just as easily leave. And you just watch it come in and then just kind of wave it goodbye. You don't have to engage in it. You don't have to think about it right now. You just want to maintain a space of being an aware observer from the outpost of your life experience. Just imagine that you're watching yourself as a third party now. You're objectively observing yourself as a neutral party. And keep breathing and just keep noticing yourself. Notice yourself just sitting there, eyes closed. And now we're going to start to direct the experience a little bit as you continue to inward journey. You're going to breathe in and you're going to say, I'm right here, right now. Now you're taking control of your internal dialogue that normally runs, that what the Buddhists call like the monkey mind. The monkey is like a mischievous mind that runs and jumps and plays, and it might think about your family. It might think about where you're going to go after this conference. It might think about where you've been. It might think of all these things. And so now we're going to take control of that monkey a little bit, and we're going to say, I am right here, right now. And you breathe in, and then you say, I am right here, right now, as you breathe out. And then if your mind is extra fast and it's been going a lot, you can do a double. You can just totally control the narrative that's happening by saying, I'm right here right now. I'm right here right now. Breathe in. I'm right here right now. I'm right here right now. Breathe out. And we're going to do this for 10 breaths. I'm right here right now. I'm right here right now. In. Right here right now. I'm right here right now. Out. I'm right here right now. I'm right here right now. I'm in. I'm right here right now. I'm right here right now. Out. Really feel the experience as you continue to breathe. What's it like to be right here right now? Do you feel the pressure on your butt as you sit there, on your feet as they sit on the floor? Do you feel the air going in and out? I'm right here right now. I'm right here right now. Breathing out. I'm right here right now. Try to feel the smallest sensations right now. I'm right here 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 right now. And notice each time you say, I'm right here right now, it's actually different than the moment before. I'm right here right now. That's different than the other one. Now I'm in the right here right now, which is different than the one before that. Right here right now is uniquely different every single time I say it. I'm right here right now. I'm right here right now. I'm right here right now. You should be getting close to getting to your 10th breath. I'm right here right now. Now notice if there's any tension in your body still. You can still keep your eyes closed. Notice if there's any tension in your body. Relax it. Notice if you've been worried or concerned or anxious about anything, and relax. Notice what even the intensity in the room feels like. You know, it's interesting. I can feel the intensity right now of us being so present that I can feel it across the way. And that's one of the interesting things that you'll find comes to surface in this practice, is that the experience, the richness, the aliveness of your life is always right here, right now, and then in this right here, right now. And the more you condition your mind, there's a thing called neuroplasticity. The more you condition your linguistics, your narrative to be present in such a strong way, I'm right here, right now, the more you actually train your mind itself to be receptive of what's going on in the present moment. Because whatever thought patterns you have continuously and repetitiously, they get reinforced every time you have them. So if you want to be as mindful or as present and as engaged in the aliveness of this experience as possible, the more you remind yourself that you're right here, right now. And the more you engage even your words to be right here, right now with your breath, you actually start to train yourself to do it more automatically and easily. I'm right here, right now. I'm right here, right now. Now, what's interesting is it's the same process of conditioning and repetition in everything that you might be doing. Do you have goals? Have you written down goals? Have you been, I haven't been there, so I don't know all the things that you've been taught in your business, but it's the same thing. You're reinforcing these things. I have goals. These are the things I want to accomplish. These are my wants. Sometimes it happens with things you don't want. If you aren't taking control of the mind, it could be, I'm worried about this. I'm worried about this. I'm worried about this. And you start reinforcing the feelings that come from that. But when you use the ultimate repetition, which is I'm right here, right now, when things enter your field, you'll immediately notice if you feel disturbed. You'll immediately notice if you feel an emotion. You'll immediately notice if a thought has come in that you don't want, because you'll be in control. If you're not present, you're not standing at the gate of your mind. You're not being guardians and watchers of what's coming in and out of your mind, what's coming in and out of your space. You become like autopilot, monkey mind, reacting to the environment. Stimulus comes, I immediately react, and then my life becomes a product of my environment. But the more I can move into myself, be right here, right now, a stimulus comes, I don't immediately react. I'm in a state of pausing and processing. Right here, right now. I begin to unpackage these signals without immediately reacting to them. I actually have a space to create new meaning for myself. The package arrives. Imagine it's a package that arrives at your door. And right now, as you're right here, right now, notice what you're feeling. Notice what packages may be at your door right now, packages that may have piled up or keep getting repeat delivery until you process them. Your emotions, your thought forms. This is the accumulation of your life up to this point. So anything that is repeating for you right now, as you sit here in a space and do nothing except be right here, right now, those are the packages that your body or your brain are trying to deliver for you to process. And now you're in a space where you can pause as you continue to breathe. I'm right here, right now. And unpackage those signals that are coming in for you. Now, how is this useful in your business? I'd love now just to, if you could open your eyes for a moment as you think about how this is useful in your business, in your life, in your relationships. I'd love if someone would like to share, just raise your hands and just kind of go around and say, wow, if I create this space for myself to pause, to unpackage, and to process, how could that be useful to me? And if we could also, if we bring the camera around as we go on the with the mic, just think about application now, because this knowledge is going to be dead the moment you leave the room, unless you practice it, unless you implement these pauses and bring more space into your day. That's what the practice is. Yeah, I see a hand back there. Yeah. We can get anybody that would love to share a mic. Great.
Like to say thank you. Yeah, very grateful for this. And I think actually one of the ways we can fight the mental issues of remote work and isolation is actually through mindfulness and maybe these kind of practices. So very grateful. Yeah, I can definitely get inspired by this.
Fantastic. Thank you too for the appreciation.
I would also like to share my gratitude. So for me personally, it allows me to enter a space where I can identify the noise And
Correct.
with the clarity of identifying the noise, it allows me to filter through what are the movements or what are the priorities that needs to be put into place, where we look into tasks, relationships, and the whole field of energy, which allows me perhaps to connect with a higher intelligence, whether that's intuition. So
Beautiful.
That's my share.
Yes. Yes. Beautiful. Thank you for that share. Anyone else want to share? I can't see if you got your hand.
Hello.
And by the way, guys, we have about 9 more minutes
Yeah.
before the Zoom feed goes off.
Yeah, this is a very effective tool, I would say, and I practice this every day before work, at least for 10-15 minutes, and this helps with like understanding what are the important things to be done, and also it gives a lot of more energy, concentration to like get things done, and also like think deeply after doing this exercise, and I highly recommend this, and it's useful for especially for the remote workers. So yeah, and every day starts with my day starts with this kind of exercise for 10-15
Excellent.
minutes.
Excellent. That's a great ritual, by the way. Yeah, to incorporate that in the morning when you're coming out of that sleep, and right before you start the day, to kind of be in that space where you can become conscious of all the signals and traffic before you get on your phones, before you go do your emails, before you check all your instant messages, because you know it's going to get crazy, right? As soon as you do that. So if you can create that space, go into, I call it TNT. You know, it's like as soon as you get into all your messages and everything, your mind starts getting fragmented. Then after you go through that first flurry of the messages and everything, take another space to be right here, right now, pause, isolate your space so that it's just you in that next 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then go another round. And then you're in that fragmentation mode again. Your mind's getting fragmented. Then space out again. Schedule it if you have to. And then, so not just the morning, my friend, and not just the evening, but if you can create these little spaces, and they don't have to be long, even if you've only got 5 minutes, isolate right here, right now, and even take out a sheet of paper if you need to just be mindfully aware of each time a thought comes in, what is it? And now you're seeing it, and you're no longer just a reactor. You're creating those spaces to become a participant in the design of your life and how you want to form these stimuli that are coming in that you call your life in a way that's intentioned and organized and clear. So yes, thank you for that share, and I hope that was helpful. Anyone else want to share?
Yeah, I also wanted to share my thoughts. First of all, I wanted to say thank you. I think wrapping up the day, the past 2 days with such a mindfulness practice is very important, because I think that there was a lot of information overload, and it's really good to process. And the one thing I wanted to share is basically just this practice basically just helps you understand that you are not your thoughts, and that you are there actually in control of your life, and that you can, you know, let the thoughts not control you, but you actually can control your brain. So I think it's very powerful, and it's a very empowering feeling.
If you got that in these last 15-20 minutes, then beautiful. That's, I mean, wow, great insight.
Hello. Yeah, more of a question than a share or comment. Like, I've tried a few times meditation. Never managed. So my question for you is basically, how long have you been doing it? And like from the start, did you feel it was helping you? Because I've tried a few times, and I don't imagine it's like more than a few minutes for me. It hasn't been like I always get distracted after that far too easily. So how long did you take to get to that point? And from the very start, did you feel it was helping you? Or was it hard to actually start?
Excellent question. And I think there's others in the room that share that sentiment. So thank you for voicing that and you know, being open with that. So here's the first answer to that question. It actually is helping you even every second that you attempt it, okay? What happens though, and this is a very important visual that will help you understand why it's so important. The wheel of your mind, I look at it like a wheel. Imagine a giant, heavy sort of like cog wheel, okay? Like a metal wheel, like spinning wheel, okay? Now, when all these stimuli are coming in, especially if you're really intelligent and bright, you have a fast clock speed that just starts spinning this wheel. Now, when you pause and you do this meditation, or you do right here, right now, and you really try to be present, and you aren't trying to let your mind run the show anymore, and you really want to slow it down, that pausing is like hitting the brakes on this wheel that's got a lot of momentum already. And the longer you go without meditation, the more momentum that wheel has. So when you're sitting down to meditate, what this wheel represents is, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do that, I got to do it, I got to do it, I got to do it, I got to do it. And you're like sitting there and you're like, and then you're like, maybe I should check my email, check my Facebook, check my messenger, check, you know, like whatever your patterns have been while the wheel was running. When you're just sitting there, now it's just you and the wheel. And if you are not aware of what it's like to create a space and take a step back, like the other lady so elegantly pointed out, she is not her thoughts. She is not this spinning wheel of stimuli of this overactive mind. The moment you start applying the brakes, you may not be able to discern that you're benefiting yourself, but you're actually starting to slow it down. It's just that it's moving so fast you don't notice the difference. It's like, what's the difference if a rotor blade goes from 5,000 RPMs to 4,999? You don't notice, right? But the longer you can do it and the more you can will yourself to not act on impulse, the more you'll slow it down to points where you can discern this slowdown. And you go, wow, it was at 5,000, 4,000. I do notice a little bit of a difference. It's still going fast and I couldn't sit that long, but it's definitely slower. And then you'll get to points where the magic happens and you actually get it to slow down to a point where you're just in a space where you actually are in almost like a void. And then the mind might start trying to go again, and then you get down to 0 point. And then the mind starts trying to go again, you get to 0 point. And the whole key is in these rituals, and why I'm saying to do it repetitively through the day. It's far easier to maintain and get to 0 point than it is if you wait like and meditate once a week or go to a retreat and do a meditation once a month or something. The more repetition you can build into the slowing down, the more you can step into that 0 point discernment and be really clear and lucid. So that in those moments when you get back in your email and you get back into work mode and the RPMs are revved up again, you'll have a lot of willpower and strength. It is going to be a lot stronger, and it won't need as much application because the wheel won't be going as fast.
And
I hope that's helpful, yeah?
Yes, for you personally, how long did it take to build up to that magic moment, as you said?
Well, here's the interesting thing. Even as long as I've been meditating, which I started when I was 13 or 14, there are times when my wheel is going so fast that even the thoughts and everything, even the beliefs, everything that I know right now from a place of discernment in the right here, right now, goes out the window and I become a product of my brain again. The only thing that having a history of meditation has taught me is that I know there's a better way. I know there's another side to it. I know that I was just lacking the repetition that I need to do, and that enters my field. And then I do the very same thing that you can do, and you can get there very, very, very quickly too. It doesn't matter that you haven't been doing it for years. What matters is that you know that if you give yourself the space to slow the wheel of the mind down, you will be able to.
All right, thank you.